Thank you very much. This time I'd like to call on Councilmember McCarthy, who would like to share his council consider request for a resolution directing the city manager to hire a third-party consultant to audit, analyze, and establish a reasonable methodology for cost allocation between Tacoma Power and Click, and to evaluate the expansion of Click Network. Councilmember McCarthy.
Thank you, Mayor. I gotta press that. Thank you, Mayor. And I'll be brief since I know we're short on time. And I'll also, out of respect for my colleagues who also signed this council consideration request, I'll be reading some of the text because this language was agreed to by all, and I don't want to mis-editorialize what we're trying to do. As the mayor correctly stated, this is a request for the council to consider a resolution directing the city manager to hire a third-party consultant to audit, analyze, and establish a reasonable methodology for a cost allocation between Tacoma Power and Click, and evaluate the expansion of the Click network in the context of an evolving telecommunications and cable industry. As everybody up here on the dais is aware of, since its inception in 1996, Click has been part of Tacoma Power's telecommunication system. Click was initially financed with Tacoma Power electric revenues as part of that system. Since that time, the internal cost allocation between Click and Tacoma Power has changed significantly, and over time, Tacoma Power substantially increased the cost allocation borne by Click. The most recent shift in this allocation is supported by an assessment which relies predominantly upon the recommendations of Tacoma Power. But this dramatic change in cost allocation has caused some considerable scrutiny as to the financial viability of Click and its future, and has also encouraged considerable public scrutiny as to the appropriateness of those accounting assumptions and methodology currently implemented by Tacoma Power. And I would add, this cost allocation methodology has been has changed significantly over time through, if you count one interim superintendent, 4 power superintendents over the past 20 years that Click's been in existence. And due to the concerns raised about the current methodology and the implications of this methodology on the proposed all-in plan, myself, Councilmember Woodards, Councilmember Blocker, Councilmember Ibsen have requested that prior to making a final decision on this plan, that we do some additional analysis on the cost allocation methodology, both for the existing state of Click and as it's contemplated to expand in the proposed all-in plan. So just to add a little bit, one of the things not mentioned in this council consideration request is how we would fund this request. A brief conversation with city manager. I'll be proposing that we use council contingency funds for the initial funding of it. We don't yet have kind of an estimate of what those costs will be, but then ultimately we would seek a reimbursement from Tacoma Public Utilities, as this is truly their operation that we are forced to provide further analysis upon in order to make kind of the best decision possible. So with that, my goal would be to take this council consideration request without changing it a whole lot or at all, put it in a resolution and get it before the council and act as quickly as possible. This is not pretext for delay. This is not undermining the integrity of anyone who works at Tacoma Public Utilities or the hard work of all of those council members and staff and members of the public who have weighed in on this issue to date and all the work that's put into it. This is simply taking one more step in the analysis of this enterprise before we make a pretty significant decision. So, and preparing us for that decision by really trying to dig a little bit more into the kind of key driver and the debate over the future of Click, which has been its financial viability. So I certainly hope that all my colleagues will appreciate this request at our next council meeting, and that we can move forward. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Would any council members like to comment on this? Well, I will just briefly say that I am okay with this, and I want to make sure that this is not an attempt to delay, and I think you've communicated that, nor is it a way to denigrate anyone who works at TPU or the hard work that's gone into it. But I do want to remind us that the council directed the TPU board to come in with an all-in, I'm going to change the word, I'm going to say a broadband retail model, because that's really the crux of what we're talking about. We're talking about having a public entity get into the retail business with more than one product beyond television. And so I will support this, but I also want to be mindful of a couple things. Regardless of whatever we decided to do, it is necessary for us to keep investing in Click, because we have not done that. So by not investing in Click the way we should have been all along, we've kind of created this situation that we're not offering the best possible product and service to the people that we serve. So I can support this. I do so with some reservations, but I want to make sure that this doesn't put us into a situation where this drags on for another 6 months, because we need to get this done. And if for nothing else, for the people who work at Click, who have been operating under a cloud of uncertainty for far too long. So I want to be respectful of them, but I can support this. All right. Deputy Mayor.
Thanks, Mayor. I'll try and be brief. This is a really important decision as well, and I very much appreciate our colleagues who have been working on this issue. I need to also support the mayor's comments. I guess I would ask our staff to work with our Tacoma Public Utilities staff when this does come before us. I'm wondering if there is a way to do both and. What I'm struggling with is I feel like there's the policy direction to move forward. Yes, we want to grapple with this cost allocation question that Councilmember McCarthy is rightfully bringing forward, and I very, very much support the intent of the cost allocation analysis. I also think that at the same time, there's clear and urgent will to move forward in the broadband retail model. And so and delay only hurts our business and hurts the commitment that we have. So I'm wondering if there's a way to do both and to give an abundance of clarity to move forward, to stand up that broadband retail business model, because we know that's going to take from the time that the City Council says go, it's going to take some time to do that. And can we also be studying this, and the council and utility board will work collaboratively together after we have some findings from this effort. So I will ask for a both and sort of discussion, dialogue, and response between now and this coming forward.
All right, thank you. And again, just to reiterate, this is coming to question because we are choosing to become retailers. If the Tacoma Public Utility budget presentation had simply said, we're going to invest more to improve Click and nothing else would change, this would not even be controversial. But because we're choosing to become retailers, that's what changes the game in this. So I just want to make sure that people understand what's going on. All right, any other questions at this time? Okay, are there any other item of interest from council members or city manager or Madam City Attorney?
Stick with Click. Thank you, thank you, thank you.